Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we are going to look at centralized and decentralized empires in Afro-Eurasia. More particular in this video, we're going to look at the beginning parts of the Iron Age and also the beginning parts of that very centralized empire of the Assyrians. Now, this overall objective is to see the, in continuation with the Assyrians, Persians, Zhou, and Vedic society. We will look at the differences between centralized and decentralized empires. We will evaluate the relationships between early empires and micro-societies. And hopefully by the end of this video clip, you'll see how new technological innovations contributed to the rise of early empires, in particular, the Assyrians. Now, a general kind of overview of major factors that contributed to the rise of these early empires. Once again, climate change. We saw that with the beginning parts of the agricultural revolution and beginning parts of city-states as that last ice age melted away glaciers, allowing new wild grasses and fauna to come out. Then we saw it again with territorial states as the city-states were harvesting too much, depleted the soil of natural resources. Flooding contributed to a major crisis and the rise of territorial states. And now once again we see severe drought going around about 1200 BCE that contributed to the destabilization of these territorial states. And because of that, because these territorial states could not produce the wealth of food generated, a lot of these nomadic groups were coming by and like, hey, we're here to trade with you. What? No food? And so violence ensued. And what contributed also to the rise of early empires is technological innovations, like these three items right here: the camel, the seafaring vessels, and iron technology. Now you might be thinking like, ooh, camel, but the camel is very innovative animal where humans can travel long distances with, and the camel does not need to take a lot of breaks for water, and so that allows for mass migration and more interconnectivity. The seafaring vessels, prior to around the Bronze Age period, vessels just kind of like hopped along the seacoast. These vessels can go a little further into the sea, kind of like travel a little further across the Mediterranean, and that also for trade and also warfare as well. And then, speaking of warfare, iron and iron technology, which becomes very important during this period, hence the Iron Age. And with this, climate change, nomadic groups disturbing a lot of these territorial states, new technological improvements, we see the rise of more centralized administration. Centralized meaning a very tight control from the king over their vast geographical area. And you think about like how we saw the Babylonian, the code of the Hammurabi. That was to control his territorial state. But the Assyrians are going to have a larger geographical area, and they're going to have a very, very tight control. In this slide, if you look at that circle right in that green area, that is the major focus for the Assyrians, the land of Ashur. Everything outside that green area and that light green area is considered the yoke of Ashur. Meaning a yoke is what you put on a beast of burden. So if those individuals, those different groups are in the yoke, that is the mentality and the point of view of the Assyrians. That those groups of people are the yoke, are the workforce for the Assyrians. And the Assyrians were moving a lot of these groups, subjecting them to slavery, relocating them into their own area to keep an eye on them as well. So brutal, harsh warfare that defines the Assyrian Empire. But a major part that maintains their control is visual propaganda. A lot of people cannot read, but a lot of people can understand images. And that was one way that the Assyrians were able to maintain their power, was through visual propaganda. And we're going to see a couple of those images in the next couple of slides. And one is quite particular. It's the banquet stele of Azarnazapal. Azurnazarpal controlled a very tight administration and control over his people. And on the banquet seal, this steel that we're looking at was in his royal throne room. So when people walked in, they saw this in his throne room, and here it is translated. Now, looking at it, it's a list. It's a list of a lot of tribute. I mean, and it's pretty much a party. Azurnazarpal is talking about a wild party he's going to throw for all the people in that light green area or throughout his empire. Now, though it sounds very generous and very like how does this sound so brutal and harsh? Well, think about it this way. If you didn't go to his party, you were going to die. So you came to his party. Also, you brought gifts and tribute. And that's what this list of different foods and commodities and talking about all the people, he's treating them nicely. I mean, on the third paragraph, where is it, right? He gave them food, gave them drink, he bathed them, anointed them. No, he showed them like, hey, I'll treat you nice. Just bring me tribute, and I won't kill you. So this is just one aspect of the tight control the Assyrians had over their people. Other images of visual propaganda, like this right here, we see on the bottom, war chariots. We see people subjected into slavery. We have also archers and also battling rams to take down major castles and walls. And then also people falling to their death. I mean, it's all over the place. But this is what the Assyrians wanted to show. You do not mess with us, because then we will bring literally the hammer on you. Here's a capture of an Egyptian city, climbing over the walls, you people, falling over. It's a very harsh and brutal way of control. And there was other aspects. Also, the Assyrians just didn't always record their military triumphs, but they also recorded other aspects, other stories of their interactions with different people. Here we have amulets worn by women to protect them in childbirth and to protect newborn children. And here's a map, their point of view. For their point of view, they were the center of the world. And so right here you have the center of their world. Where's my mouse go? And describing everything else around them. So everything else pointed in those directions, is a move away from their center, their periphery. For the Assyrians, they were the center of the world. And we'll talk more, you'll have more time to look at the social structure in your own time. This is just to give you a brief idea about the very strict and centralized control the Assyrians had on their people. Thank you.